Welcome to the Propreneur Podcast, where we help practice owners become better entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Dino Watt. And welcome once again, everybody, to the Propreneur Podcast. I am your host, Dino Watt. Excited to have you here again, listening in from your car or your treadmill or wherever you are. Thank you so much for listening in and sharing it with your friends and colleagues. That's one of the things we ask you to do because we want to share the best practices with as many offices as we possibly can. And today you're going to want to tune in because we're talking to Minal Sampat, who is amazing at marketing, is going to show you probably all the things you're doing wrong in your marketing. Well, maybe not all, we're only a half an hour show, but a lot of the things that you're doing incorrectly and can change very quickly inside of your practice. Before we do that, remember to always share this podcast with others, subscribe so you don't miss out on a single one. And don't forget also, we are adding all of the video cast, the video that we're shooting right now, which you definitely want to see because Minal and I look like we're on the same beach together, up on YouTube. So go to Dino Watt YouTube channel and you can get more information there. Thanks for being on the show, Minal.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Minal and I have known each other for about 2.5 years now. We met in a dental speakers group through Vanessa Emerson, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. Like, this girl has got her marketing skills down. And here's the deal. I am very critical about marketers because, especially in the ortho industry, and I know you deal primarily in the dental world, I think there's a lot of cross contamination, which is a terrible word to use right now, but probably the right one when it comes to ortho and dental marketing. But in the ortho world, I was always confused when I first got in this industry in 2012 because I would have people say, yeah, we're doing all this marketing and we have a marketing director, and they would talk marketing, and everything they said though was networking. They weren't marketing stuff. They were, oh yeah, we go and we talk to this doctor that we take gifts to this referring dentist, and we take this referring and we do a lunch and learn with this referring dentist. And I'm like, well, that's not really marketing. That's networking. You guys need to understand the difference. So my point is that in this industry, I'm pretty particular about people who I agree are good marketers. And Minal's got her stuff down. So Minal, I'm excited for you to share your wisdom with us.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me. This is funny you mentioned orthodontics because I started when I finished, I went to Rutgers University. Mm-hmm. So, I was born in India, grew up in the Virgin Islands. That's why you and I are virtually hanging out on the same beach right now.
Love it, man.
I'm supposed to be in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands right now. So this is my way of making sure I get some beach time virtually. Nice. But, when I was at Rutgers, I was pre-dental. And a part of being a pre-dental student is you need to get shadowing work done at a dental practice. So I went ahead, and this was 2006 because I graduated in 2008. So in 2006, I remember putting my resume together and faxing. Remember the days of faxing resume to all these places, right? And I faxed it, and then here it is, a pediatric and an orthodontic dental practice.
Yep.
Of over 25,000 patients was the one who called me up and said, hey, come on in and shadow us.
Wow.
And so I did. I went and shadowed them in 2006. And while I was leaving, they're like, we want to hire you. We want you to come, work for us. Now, I already had 2 jobs at college. I did not have a car. I've been financially independent for a very, very long time. So I was like, well, I would love to, except I'm taking the bus to get to you guys. You're 40 minutes away from my dorm. I don't know if I can make it to work while I'm 18 credits and 2 jobs. So I'm like, no worries, but I will remember you. And then I graduated in 2008. The wonderful 2008.
And everything crashed.
And what a lucky year to graduate, right?
Right.
This is like a recall. I'm almost deja vuing right now. But 2008, I graduated, and I called everybody, and I was sending resumes, and everybody's like, well, we are not hiring. We're in a financial crisis right now. What are you talking about? We're not hiring. And then I called this dental practice in New Jersey. And I said, hey, remember me? I shadowed you guys. I am available now. I graduated college. I'm ready for work. What can I do? Because I still wasn't sure if I was going to go to dental school or business, because I majored in communication and marketing and also minored in biology at pre-dental. So I get a call back, and the office manager's like, well, we are not hiring right now. They already have over 60 people working at this one location. We are not hiring right now, but why don't you come on in? So she gave me the lunchtime. So I figured I'm going to go and have lunch with the doctors. Great. networking is great. I'm going to show up. So I did my usual thing and took the bus and went to the dental practice. The next thing I know, I am being questioned. I am actually in an interview.
Oh.
And then the owner comes in and says, we have no idea what you're going to do, but we like you. So we're just going to hire you.
Nice.
And they're like, we're going to train you in everything. So I was on the welcome desk. I was doing insurance. I was doing scheduling. I was doing, I was in the lab washing instruments. I was their floater. Wherever you needed me to be, I was there. But you see, what's interesting is Facebook was launched in 2004. That was my first year of college. I remember Facebook when it was a face and it was only for college kids.
Right.
Like I remember figuring out where we're going to have lunch and where are we going to study together. It wasn't this global phenomena that was. And this is a pediatric orthodontic dental practice. So I said, well, why don't we start doing this other marketing that I'm talking about? And they're like, go for it. So I did. And for pedo ortho, and well, let's just say that their new patient numbers doubled.
Wow.
And, business increased tremendously, and to a point where that was 2008. I'm still part of that team right now, but I'm their marketing strategist, and now they have 2 full-time people who their marketing directors are inside their practice. So, and this was in 2008. So they didn't even slow down in 2008. They were actually doubling. They were actually making more money, and they were actually seeing more patients. So it's funny that you mentioned orthodontics because I totally understand what you're saying. It's very different.
Right.
When it comes to orthodontic marketing, pediatric marketing, GP marketing, everything is very different. And there is some cross-contamination, but realistically, the way you approach it as a strategy is very different.
I bet for sure. Well, what's great about that is I usually start off the show saying, tell us your story. How did you get into this place? And you already did it. So that's really cool. And I love that you do have that crossover now on this show. One of the things we try to focus on is just practices, right? Best practices, doesn't matter. We've had chiropractors on, we have veterinarians. It doesn't matter. But because I think the practice, the way that you run a practice, the modality might be different, but business ownership, entrepreneurship, those things just have certain skill levels that you got to have. And one of them is marketing. And the reason why I wanted to have you on the show was for those of you that can see through the screen and see us on our beach is it's green. So it's not showing up. That is so funny. I'm holding up Minal's book right now, but the cover is green. And because I'm using a green screen,
I'll go back to my living room background.
I'm going to head out up here so I can actually see it. That's funny. I don't know if you saw the thing that just happened with the Queen of England.
Oh, I know. I did.
Like that. So there you go. If those of you watching, there it is. It's why your marketing is killing your business. And this book, it's a nice guidebook to walk you through exactly what's going on with your business that's wrong. And better than that, she doesn't just point out the things that are bad. She tells you how to fix it. And that's what's super key. So where did your love for marketing come?
From my parents. I came to the United States when I was 12 years old with my family. And have you ever been to St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands?
I haven't. I've been just in the Bahama area, but not there. That's it's actually a very hurtful, sad story that I don't know if you want to get into, but my way.
Oh, no. I mean, it's up to you if you want to share with the audience. You're more than welcome to.
I was on a vacation with my family. We were in Florida doing the Disney and all that thing. And we were supposed to get on a cruise ship to go down to do all those islands. And I was asked to come and be with, I don't know if you know who T. Harbecker is, The Secrets of Millionaire Mind. I was asked to go and help their be in their training program and help out there. And so I had to leave my family and go do that while they all went to St. Thomas and all the Virgin Islands. And to this day, they will come up with stories. We'll get together as family or whatever, and my kids, and hey, remember that time? Where they'll see something that's beautiful, like the beach we were just on, and be like, oh, that looks like that beach. Do you remember that? And then I'll go, no, remember, I wasn't there. And they always forget. They always forget that I was not there. So whatever. Thanks for bringing up the memory again.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sure
well,
my
now,
kids.
you know what? Now you have to go there.
No, I absolutely have to go.
You have to absolutely go there. So everybody who knows me goes to St. Thomas and hangs out with my family. Like no.
Oh, done.
They all hang with my family. They end up loving my family way more than they love me. Ask anybody in our industry who's been to St. Thomas. They just love the
That's great.
It's hilarious. But so how did I get into marketing? I was 12 when my parents moved to the Virgin Islands. And if any of the listeners or the viewers, if you've been to the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas, you will realize that there is one street called Main Street. many towns have a street called Main Street. But the thing about this Main Street is that every single store, hundreds of stores, are all jewelry business. Every single one of them.
Wow.
So my parents, you guessed it, own a jewelry business.
Oh, really?
Right? Now imagine this. So you go into this street and you are sharing all your walls with your competition. You have a competition to the left, to the right, in front of you and behind you. And they're all making money, selling the same merchandise, selling the same kind of category, jewelry. So how is it that all of those stores, hundreds of them on a small island, make money?
Yeah.
Right? That's what I grew up in. So I grew up in understanding that there is really, the reason I named this book, Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business, is because when we think about marketing, we get into details like website and logo and colors. All of those are great, but all of those are a checklist.
Yep.
You have to have a website. You have to have a logo. You have to have your colors. Yes, I get it. You need to have that. But that's not marketing. That's your to-do list.
Yep.
That's not, think about it, where we all shop, right? If Amazon was called something else, we will still shop there. If Starbucks logo was not green and another color, we will still get Starbucks.
Yep.
We are not going to stop shopping and where we spend our money because their logo's different or their color's different. That's a to-do list. When it comes down to it, your brand is what I work on. And Dino, I know you talk a lot about this. Your brand and who you are. My marketing is literally what Dino talks about me when I'm not in the room. My brand is what my clients, other people are saying about me when I'm not in the room. So doesn't it make sense in a strategy point of view to focus on that compared to all the extra noise and the expense that we have? I mean, people are spending 5-6 figures on a website. And I understand that, I empathize with that, but is it really necessary?
Well,
Right?
and I totally agree. And I think that the challenge is all of that stuff is they're easy distractions to point out the work you've put into it. And I get this a lot, like, but no, we've been working on this, and no, we've been working. Yeah, but like, at what cost, first of all, and at what cost? Like, you are not doing the thing you should be doing for the marketing. Getting on a phone call or going out there and actually shaking hands with people, letting them know what you're doing, who you are, what makes you different. That's hard. It's a lot easier to say, well, we spent a whole 3 hours working on the different color palette that we want to make sure we have, because that's really important. Granted, there are a lot of people out there, especially in this industry, who need to update their logos and need to update their brands.
I understand that. But again, it's kind of a to-do list.
It is. It absolutely is.
The way I look at it, and here's one of my tips for all the viewers and listeners right now.
Yeah.
If you're looking at your marketing list, things you have to get done, remember the things that bring you ROI and the things that are just there.
Yep.
Okay. The things that are just there, you put a deadline on those. You spend 1 hour, you go into the logos, you get your help, and you say, done, move on. Because really what you should be doing, especially during this crisis right now, is you should be able to connect with people, right? And you should be able to make sure that anytime your name comes up or your practice comes up, all they have saying are good things, because that's your marketing. That's your brand. The way my parents survived, not only survived, I think about it now. So when my dad came in and told us he's going to open a jewelry store in St. Thomas, we all knew that he was losing his mind, but we thought he was completely crazy. Like, he had lost his mind. He's crazy, Dad. You have no idea what you're talking about. Why would you open a jewelry store when all of these are jewelry stores on the same street? Like, the same street is crazy. What are you thinking, right? And today we don't have one, not two, but 3 jewelry stores. They are on online businesses. They're on Amazon, on eBay, on Etsy. They have a full e-commerce website. So it always comes down to saying, well, how did they not just survive, but thrive in a competitive environment? And here's the thing, their website is great. It's e-commerce. It does its job. My parents' business is called Golden Star. It sounds like a Chinese restaurant's name.
It does, you're right.
Let's face it. And yet they're selling diamonds and very high-end jewelry pieces on there, and people are spending, tens of thousands of dollars. And they're called Golden Star.
Wow.
So it all comes down to you saying, well, how are they making that money? How are they going down? And you know what? When I look at my father make a sale, when I look at my brother make a sale, when I look at my family do this, it has always come down to relationships and business. It doesn't go into the whole hooplas of let's spend $5,000 on this or 5,000. Are those things great? Sure, as long as they give you the ROI.
Right.
But if you already have people who love you, if you already have people that you have shown genuine interest in, and in your marketing is already working, your connection, you're going to keep getting new patients coming in.
Yep.
And just look at any marketing. So that's my number one tip is, I want you to realistically make a list. And I guarantee you this to all the viewers and listeners, that if you were to take it your marketing list and you were trying to see what's bringing you direct ROI and what's not, you will be able to reduce your marketing budget by 20%. That's an average.
Wow.
Of my clients that work with me immediately see a decrease in 20% expense while increasing their production. Because we go back to that connection piece, we go back into making sure that people understand that they are the top priority for us.
Can I ask, what do you find is the fastest and most effective way to make that connection? Because I think one of the challenges a lot of people have is they think, well, I'm just here doing good work. Like, shouldn't my good work be enough? Why do I have to actually go and make those? My connection is the good work, but I don't find that to be true. What do you find is the best way to make that connection?
It's actually very different. So I have created a formula around this.
Cool.
And the formula actually has 3 different things put together. There's a formula, it's going to sound a little crazy, but it works. The formula
I like crazy. We like crazy here. Come on.
The formula is superpower plus common ground plus authenticity. So hear me out. We're going to break this down, okay? When I say, Dino, what is your superpower? What are you going to tell me?
My superpower, very simply, is connecting people and making things very easy to understand.
Okay, now if that's your superpower, would you tell me that that's what others will say about you too? If I were to go online and Google Dino Watt right now, and your reviews pop up, will they be saying the same thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. So this is where the superpower comes down. Your superpower is the superpower, like I mentioned, what others are saying about you. So when somebody says, what's your superpower? I look it up and I say, what are they saying about Minal? That's my superpower. So if you're going to figure out how do you find that connection, the first thing has to start with your superpower. Many people have the superpower, let's say in our dental industry, of being the gentle dentist, or being the kind dentist, or being a humorous dentist, or being a team that is always caring, right? You walk in and it's like Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Right.
And that's your superpower. Your superpower is what people are saying about you, and you already have it. So this is where you don't have to work hard. We just have to figure out what it is. And the way you're going to do that is you're simply going to see what others are saying about you, what your team is saying about you, what your patients are saying about you, what your consumers and customers are saying about you. That's the first one. Now, the second one, and this is going to be a rebellious way of looking at it.
Nice.
People in the marketing world, people in the business world always talk about what makes you unique, what makes you different. I don't agree with that. I don't think that any of us are that unique or different, and I don't think that's the way to success. The way to success is finding the common ground. Okay, if your consumer and if your patient is looking for a dental practice, most of the listeners are dentists or healthcare providers?
Yeah, healthcare providers, yep.
Okay, so if your patients are looking for a healthcare provider that actually takes the time to go over their treatment plan, then that's what you need to provide. You don't need to be any different. There is no point of you to be different.
Right.
You're actually going to push your ideal patient away because you're not looking at them and matching their common ground. My dad does this really well. You know, he will have somebody walk into to his business in St. Thomas, and they will actually come on in, and he doesn't just directly take out a piece of jewelry and push it on their face and say, buy this piece of jewelry. No, he's like, hey, so what do you do? Where are you from? How are things going? Oh, you're from Washington State. You know, I have my daughter. She lives in Washington State too. You wouldn't believe it. Where do you live in Washington State? Oh, she's in Walla Walla. She loves all the wine. Have you ever been to the wineries? Oh, yes. You know, my other family is here. I have a niece, not a niece. I have a granddaughter. She's 3 years old. And they'll say, oh, I have grandchildren too. Oh, she has me around her fingers. You know, my granddaughter was born in March. This is her birthstone. Oh, she loves it. She lights up when I show her this birthstone. Oh, you know what? I have a granddaughter too, and she would love that birthstone. Would you like me to show you some pieces?
Right. Building on that common ground, that connection, that
Building
relationship.
on that common ground. Don't worry about what makes you different. Don't worry about what's your unique selling factor, because your ideal customer is not looking for your unique selling factor.
Yep.
Who you can find common ground on, especially in the world we live today.
Yep.
So when I hear so many lectures about this unique factor, are they great? Sure. I live in a world of, as Mark LeBlanc says, 2 or more correct answers. I appreciate that. But in my formula, where I have seen a major success, find the common ground. What are they looking for? Give it to them. That's the way you're going to connect with them. So the first thing is superpower, and you're going to figure out what your superpower is. So let's go with an example of, we talked about a humorous healthcare provider, okay? Because, humor is always fun.
Sure.
So let's say you're a humorous healthcare provider. Now, if your superpower is being humorous, then it means that you're also going to find people who find you funny, I hope. I hope that you are actually funny and they're finding you funny, right? But let's say you find that common ground with them, and you have a way of making things easy and fun for your patients to understand. Now, if you're going to do that, that's your superpower, and you combine it with common ground. So if you know that you have patients coming in with high anxiety, how is your humor going to help them get more conscious? How is it going to help them get more relaxed? How is that anxiety going to go away? And if you focus on that common ground and say, you know what, there's somebody who actually loves to watch Seinfeld. Can we have that here? Or can I make impressions of Seinfeld? Am I somebody who can do a voiceover, right? Find that common ground. That's the second one. And the third part of the formula is integrity. I mentioned this as a powerful part of the formula because when people think of marketing, they think of promotions and sales talk. And, we need to have a script. What is our script? What is our script? Here's the reality check. People are smart.
That's right.
When you act like a robot, they know that you're acting like a robot.
And it drives you crazy when you're on the other end of the phone.
And you already lose the trust. When I go ahead and I talk about integrity, and integrity is just saying, hey, Mrs. Smith, I completely understand your frustration right now. This was a fault at our end. And you know what? We're going to fix it. This is how we're going to fix it for you. What people want is to make sure that they are listened, they are heard, they're appreciated, and that you care about them. And that comes out of integrity. Are there ways that you can react differently? Absolutely. Are there things that you can educate yourself on, saying, if I am in this situation, how will I react? Absolutely. But that does not mean having a script. When I get on a phone, and if I want to talk to a human, I want to talk to a human. I don't want a human who's talking a script.
Right.
And how many times do we have said, put me to your manager, put me to your manager, put me to your manager, because you are done being on that merry-go-round over and over again, having that conversation. So if you're trying to find how to connect with your patients, this is my formula. And like I said, it's superpower plus common ground. And again, superpower is what people are saying about you. Ask them, figure that out. Common ground is not what makes you different, but what is it that your actual patients, your consumers are looking for, and how are you providing that for them? And then being the integrity part, because people are smart and they're going to listen to you and they're going to trust you. And if they already trust you, they will buy from you. So that's the formula I have.
I love it. I love that formula. I think it's so great. I have a couple questions I wrote down here as you were talking that I wanted to review. Sure. Was number one is the common ground. I'm a huge advocate of knowing who your client is and going after that person. Because if you're, trying to be one thing to everybody, you're going to be nothing to anybody, right? That was a terrible way to say that, but the way that is true, right? You just don't. You got to know who you're talking to. It makes it a lot easier to find that common ground too, by the way, because then it goes into, in my opinion, it goes into that integrity part of it. I can't be something that I'm not. If I'm the funny doctor and I want to have people coming in that I can soothe and make feel better and bring down that anxiety, that's on me. And I have to stay that way. But if somebody comes in and they're like, hey, can you be this type of doctor or this way? And that's not me, then the integrity part comes in to be able to say, nope, that's not me. Sorry. There are other guys that can do that, though.
That's the issue that I have, too, because we have a lot of companies out there who are like, well, the trend right now is this is what you must do. There is no such thing that you must do.
Right.
So if you are already not, like, I have seen a lot of people try to force, and, I love live videos. That's my thing, right? I have a show called Real Talk with Minal. I do live videos. But if you are uncomfortable with live videos and you have tried it, always try things. Don't just push them out. But if you have tried it and you're still uncomfortable, you don't enjoy it, It's okay.
It's
There
okay.
are other things you can do. So, that integrity card is so important because you are just so much more yourself.
Yep.
And you're more relaxed and you're more open to actually exploring how can you take your own superpower and even level it up. So, yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely true. And well, I had to stop when you were talking about the scripts thing, because I am right there with you. It drives me crazy when people ask, well, do you have a script for this? You have a script for that? I've never once enjoyed a movie or a play that I went to when the actor had the script in front of them and was doing his lines from the script. Like, we don't do that. What scripting to me, and I know this is controversial, but scripting to me, people who want scripts, I should say, and want to use scripts, it's a very lazy way to train people, and it helps you and everybody else avoid role playing and practicing. The number one way to get better is not through having a better script. It's through role playing, and role playing many different scenarios of what's going to happen. The mom that's angry, the mom that's happy, the way you messed up, showing your, what integrity you have around that and what you're going to say. I agree. The scripts are just there to me.
And I love that you talk about role playing, because you have to be in that situation. And you have to be able to say, well, this is what happened. How am I going to react? That's why I said that you want to learn how to react properly.
That's right.
So that you are not just confused and kind of saying, oh, what do I do now? But that's a whole different thing than a script.
Yes.
It's very different.
I totally agree. The higher the emotions, so I say this all the time, the higher the emotions, the lower the IQ. So if you haven't rehearsed something and rehearsed it in a tense situation, let's just say it's angry mom. You messed up on the billing or something or taking too long to do whatever. You're going to get emotional too. So you're not going to get smarter when that happens. You're going to become even more dumb, and you're going to make dumb mistakes. So a script, how's that going to help you? You think they're going to calm down when you go, well, just a moment, you're not going with the script. You were supposed to say this, or it's not time for me to say this right now. We've all been in that situation too, by the way, where we've been on the receiving end of a customer service person on the phone who we've had a frustration with.
Get me the manager.
And they go back to the script. And they're telling, and I say, I don't want to hear that script. I have been in situations before where, no joke. Matter of fact, we were in, not the Bahamas, we were in Dominican Republic. And there was a big problem with the smell of the room we were in. It smelled disgusting. And anyways, they were just giving us the runaround, and they kept going back to the customer service script. And finally, my wife was on the phone. She's like, you know what? I get it. You went to some training about how you're supposed to deal with this stuff, but you are not solving my concern. And this is really pissing me off more than it is making me resolved. And, people get it. Like you said, they get it. They're smart. So treat them like they're smart. So anyways, that's absolutely a rant.
But yeah, so, like I said, when it comes out to connection, if you were to focus, that's a formula that I always use.
I love it.
And it's yielded good results. I'm still in business and very good.
Yeah,
reviews,
right.
So
It's working. It's working. There's proof in the pudding there. Okay. So tell me then, obviously that's where I think a lot of people falter, is not knowing, number one, the formula, not knowing who their ideal client is, not understanding who they are and letting other people tell them who they are. Okay, I just brought up something that I'm gonna have to say. Okay, you're in this world. I don't deal a lot with marketing and stuff. I get it, but what I see, I find it interesting. How much does it drive you crazy when you see a marketing or a brand manager come in and create the persona of this business that makes no sense to what they're doing? I'm just gonna give you an example. I drive from LA or Arizona often to Salt Lake City. On my way to Salt Lake City, there is a children's pediatric orthodontist or dentist who's right off the freeway. It's like a little strip mall, and you can see it. And I go by every time I see it. Now, this is Salt Lake City, Utah. It's actually out in the barren part of Salt Lake, of Utah. The logo is a dolphin. And I can't remember what the name of the thing is, but it makes zero sense. I'm like, why? Like, the guy's name isn't Dolphin Orthodontics. It's some dude's name. And I'm like, what happened is some brand manager or some marketing manager came in and said, you know what kids like? Kids like dolphins. Let's make a dolphin your logo. And people will say, hey, mommy, look at the cute dolphin. And mommy will go, oh, it's a pediatric dentist. Okay, I'll go there. That's exactly what the conversation was. It drives me crazy. So my question for you is, when you see that, how do you help people open their eyes to the inauthentic way that they're trying to market themselves?
Again, I go back to what you and I were saying, where, yeah, instead of you focusing on the dolphin logo, you will definitely have to focus on who that ideal avatar is.
Yes.
Right? And if you're going to focus on that ideal avatar, here's the cool thing. Once you have that avatar, and I deep dive into my book about this avatar thing. If you can go back into this avatar, you will then know what they're actually looking for. And here's the thing, like I said, I believe in finding common ground. So if you're in Arizona having a dolphin logo, immediately my formula is going to say, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing? Stop trying to be different. Stop trying to be different, right? That's what my formula is going to yell out at you, because that's not what I think you should be looking at all.
Right.
And in that own way, yes, it's what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of those, here's a $69 special. Here's a Groupon,
right.
Like something that grabs attention. I get it. Something that grabs attention is good. I understand that.
Right. You're trying to, just trying to interrupt that beta state. Right.
I appreciate that. But the question is, what about the conversion?
Yep.
Right. And what about hey, so if this is the way we are going to take a look at this logo and say, here's a dolphin in Arizona. Well, I wish there was a dolphin in Arizona, but there isn't. So like, I'm already kind of judging that mindset that this
totally.
So again, it comes out as a cheap tactic.
Yep.
It comes out as a not well thought out way of strategy when it comes down to marketing and branding, because a well thought out strategy would be going in and saying, well, what is the next step? So yes, we caught their attention. Now what?
Right.
Right. So there is a process that has to happen here. There has to be an entire journey from somebody finding you, looking at you, making the decision to come to you. Like, where does that journey go? And if your journey makes sense and your strategy and your branding goes along with that journey, then go for it. If it doesn't, then don't go for it.
Well, and doesn't it also it answers so many questions for you. Once you know who your ideal client is and who you're trying to connect with, it answers the questions for who should you sponsor? Where should you market? Where should you put your dollars?
Absolutely.
Like, if your ideal client is not a 7-year-old, then why are you sponsoring the little junior league baseball teams for every year?
And that's,
for thousands
that's
of
something
dollars?
that comes out a lot to me too, because I will get specialists, pediatric is something that I love working with, because that's my start, pediatric orthodontics. And I would always get pediatric practices calling me and say, and I'll say, who's your ideal client? And they'll be like, kids. And I'm like, yes. But you see, they're inside your practice after their mother and their father decided to bring them to your practice, right? So yeah, go crazy inside your practice. Let's make it super child friendly. Let's make it, have games and all this fun stuff, because they're going to love being inside. But we have to get them inside first.
Yep.
So we have to think about this from, like you said, who is it that you're really trying to attract?
Yep.
And who is it that you're really trying to get in front of to say, yeah, this business is the right business for us. In that same way. So you always have to go back at it. And, I joke about this all the time, because in 101 marketing, you were taught, know your audience. But how many people know their audience?
Not a lot. Not a lot. They would look for the people. Well, do they have money? Are they in pain? That's who I want to be. I hear it all the time. And,
so that's one of the cringe points that I have too, where I say, let's not look at that, because we want to look at the quality game. And we want to look at the game of saying, hey, if I were to do this correctly, and like you said, if you have your ideal avatar, and I talk about this in the book, and you name this person, because I'm all about naming the avatar, because it becomes real.
Me too.
Right? Like you and I have the same kind of thought process. Make the character. Now here's where I'm heading with this. So towards the end of the book, I talk about this in my last chapter. And I think it's going to happen, because the question was asked, what do you think is going to happen in 2025 in my book? But I'm going to say 2020 because of the current crisis we're in. If this comes out later, we're in the COVID crisis right now.
Yeah.
We are actually moving from just having an avatar for our consumer. We are actually moving towards having an avatar for our business. So for example, right now, how your business is reacting to COVID, how they're showing up, is being judged by everybody who's watching you. Is being judged by consumers, is being judged by customers, is being judged by the general public. Not just you, but how your business is showing up. Why do you think you're getting 20 emails a day from every single place that you've ever given their email address to say, how are they reacting to COVID? What are they doing? How are they helping? What is it that they're doing? Because all of us are watching. So your business, by end of 2020, your business is going to have a personality. Your business is going to be judged based on personality and the brand, which is what are people saying about your business. So we are actually looking at a way where I am actually shifting my strategies myself, where I am adding. So yeah, we always need to have the customer avatar. That's a number one thing. But I am actually now going through a journey and a process in my formula where I'm going to add your business avatar. What do you want your business to look like? And how are you making sure that it looks like that? How are you making sure that it stays up with the formula that I just gave you for connection? How are we going to translate that into your business avatar? And I thought about this when I was writing my book, and I said, we are not going to reach there till 2025. I now take that back, and I said, we are going to reach there by end of this year because COVID.
Yeah, it's forcing
everyone's judging me, everyone's judging you, everybody's judging how we are showing up right now. And that means our business is showing up right now. So it's going to be interesting to see this.
I think it's a really brilliant thing to think about, to focus on. Obviously, I'm big into culture, and I care about building the culture in a real authentic way, in a real tangible way. And that's the conversation I've been having is, you guys, if you're not leaning on your culture and your core values right now, then why were you doing that? Why were you talking about them before if they're not actually who you are? But I love this idea of looking at your business as a character, or that avatar, that ideal client. Because as you were saying that, I'm running through my head different brands, right? Walmart is a character. Like, we all know what we're going to Walmart. Disney, McDonald's, these are all characters that we're looking to, and to see how are they reacting to this. And the email thing is fascinating, because as you were saying that, I thought, yeah, they're all clamoring to raise their hand to say, we're still here. We're still here. Me too, me too, me too. And you don't want to be a me too business. You want to be a, this is who we are business.
Exactly.
Let everybody else follow the way.
You know, like when you look at Bill Gates, when you look at Bill Gates and you look at what he's doing, right? When you look at Mark Cuban and see what he's doing, right? These are the people who are bringing this forward. Like, even when you look at Facebook, what Facebook's doing, right? They are donating and matching COVID responses. Now, when you look at these businesses and you start them, your business has a personality. Mm-hmm. We just have never talked about it out loud. Yeah. We're always just focused on our avatars as customers. And that's where, I go into the book and talk about, no, this is not just us. This is not just the business owner and the team members. Your business has a personality.
Right.
And if we can make that into a character, if we can make that into an avatar, how amazing would it be that not only are we focusing on getting the right people inside the door, but as soon as they come inside the door now, they're going to stay with us.
Yeah.
Because our character matches, our character has the common ground with them. So it's been a lot of interesting ways of looking at the future and how are we going to be prepared for this. So I've been experimenting with a few things, which I'm so glad that you and I can chat about, because usually when I have other people, they may not always.
Yeah, no, I love this stuff. And I know that people listening to this have got an awakening in their brain of like, oh no, how am I showing up? And they're all across the spectrum, right? They're the ones who just like shut the doors. Well, mm-hmm. My dad actually reached out to me about 2 weeks ago, and I've told the story before about how he, he's 73 years old. He has, he's a cancer survivor. He's got neuropathy of the feet. Well, he's got all these doctor's appointments that, of course, canceled. He's in California, canceled. And he had one that was to his dentist. And his dentist just called him and said, hey, Mr. Watt, we were going to have you in, but obviously we have to close things down. And he said, okay, can we reschedule? And they said, oh, no. We'll just call us back when this is all over. It didn't even say, we'll call you. It said, call us back when this is all over. And he went, you don't even want to have me on your schedule? Like, you don't even want me to hope and have a desire to come and see you. And I'm 73 years old. I'm probably going to forget to call you back. And the point is that now his idea of the character of that business is completely shifted. And I'd be surprised if he goes back.
Absolutely.
So good stuff to think about. That's really good. I wanted to touch on one more thing before we get to our questions, because I know we're running out of time. I really liked the idea of talking about your reputation more than your chatter that you get, because there's a lot of people who focus so much, and I get it at some level. Like, if I wish they had to charge for people to put up a review on Google or any of those, because it would make people think twice about how important that thing is. I really think people don't understand the importance of I call it their expert reputation, their expertise, being the guy. I just sent out, I do these daily doses of Dino, and I just recorded one yesterday about how, man, be the person that's the connector in your city, not just the guy who is another orthodontist or another dentist or another chiropractor. Be the connector, be the person that all the top people know you're the person who puts those people together. That creates a reputation, that creates your connection, that creates an expertise around it. Most people are worried about, did I get good reviews? Did I get a good testimonial?
I know, and it's, and I guess because you're talking about, because it's a chapter in my book,
Yeah.
Reputation versus chatter.
Yes.
And it was so interesting because when I thought about that chapter and I took the pen down, I was feeling the same thing you're feeling. There is such a difference and a lag of chatter, and people, again, called why your marketing is killing your business, because when people think of marketing, they're thinking of, I need X, I need 300 reviews and
yes.
1,000 blah 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 blah. And I get it. Listen, I understand that.
Me too.
Right? Yeah. But sometimes that is chatter. Now you could have 300 great reviews. Fantastic, I love it. But if you also have a consumer, a patient who is doing a video for you, and it's completely heartfelt, it's something that is, as soon as they come to your practice, they're talking about it, right? I have had videos done where they're crying because they couldn't believe the care they received. That's reputation.
Yes.
Because that's an emotional connection that you have with your patients. Now remember, no matter how you look at marketing, your number one source of new consumers, new patients, are your current.
Yes.
Okay. So when we forget about our current patients and we focus so much on our new patients, you're hurting yourself.
Yep.
Because if you focus on that reputation, which is your current patient, not chatter, which is just, how do I get somebody else in the door? How do I get somebody else in the door? You are actually not working at your number one source, your number one referral source of your business, which are your current patients and your current consumers. I started this talk with saying, how did my family not only, survive, but thrive? Yeah. It's not because, they were every single person who walks on that street, they're competing to have them come to that store.
Sure.
Their strategy was never that. Their strategy was always, if Mrs. Smith came to my store, she's going to buy and she's going to send me all her family and friends. That was the strategy. The strategy was never just about, hey, let me get in front of everybody else. Yes, you can still get in front of everybody else. I have no problem with that. But that's like level 3 or 4. Yep. Level 1 is, how do I make sure that if Mrs. Smith chooses me, she's going to love me, she's going to love the business, and she's going to keep sending me more and more people. Because Mrs. Smith is the way you're going to succeed. And that's your reputation. The chatter is everything else that's going to, yes, add to the noise and get you in front of people, but what happens next?
Totally.
Right?
Mrs. Smith is the pebble that you want in your pond to ripple out to all the other people. It's so true.
I love it. Yeah.
So true.
Oh,
wow.
I love it. We can talk all day, Dino.
We totally could talk all day. I know. I love this stuff. I do. I really enjoy it. It's funny because I'm not a marketer, but I really enjoy. I'm lucky enough to be in a large mastermind called the Genius Network with Joe Polish. That is tons of marketers, right? And Joe Polish is an amazing marketer. I just really like the psychology of it. It makes sense, and it always fascinates me for people who kind of mess it up and don't really think about it the way that it should be thought about. Don't really focus on it the way it should be focused on. And having somebody like you who sees it, and because listen, I've talked to a lot of marketers, and at events, whether it be ortho, dental, whatever, you're going to have a ton of booths out there with different people. Oh, we'll market this. We're doing this reputation marketing, this type of marketing. And I got to tell you, 9 times out of 10, I talk to somebody, I'm like, yeah.
You have to also take a look at it, because my husband's a physician, and he's actually on the front lines right now. But I know we have a lot of healthcare providers who are with us here. When you look at your marketing, and I don't, and this is a full disclaimer, I don't sell websites. I don't sell SEO. I'm a flat out marketing strategist. So
Nice.
this is coming from a place of, there is no sales happening here. I'm not selling you. You're not going to get a call from me saying, give me $10,000 for a website. That's not what I do.
Right.
My job is to literally reduce your marketing budget, increase your production. That's what I do. But, when you look at this, and if it's getting confusing, if it's getting overwhelming, the way I kind of tell people, and this is a very simple concept, and this is why I think it kind of works, is if you are getting those phone calls, if you are at those booths at all these meetings and people are trying to sell you, step back. And if you do have the book, there's actually 5 steps that I mentioned in there, but here's just a simple thing. Just step back and ask yourself and say, if I am going to look at it not from a business point of view, not from a marketing point of view, but from a human point of view. I'm going to look at this from a human point of view and say, if I were to buy this service and what they're offering, will I, as a human, as a person, how am I going to react to it? And give yourself the time to get that reaction and then say, do I need this? Do I want this? Do I want people to feel this way? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no.
Right.
And that's a simple test. Just kind of get yourself out of the business. Just allow the sales talk to take a back seat and just think of it and say, if I am the patient coming in, or if I am a consumer coming in, what is my human reaction to this?
Yeah. I want to get, am I excited about this? Does this drive me? Is it something that, it's kind of that thing as I used to say to husbands, said, are you the husband that you would want to be married to? Right. Or are you the business that you'd want to do business with? Are you the boss? Are you the leader who you'd want to be led by? And if not, then it's a no. And the cool thing is you can change it and you can shift it. And by going through things, to the steps and the ideas inside your book is one very simple, fast way to make it happen. And I highly recommend everybody run out and get the book. It's on Amazon right now. You can get it both on Kindle and on, you did audio, right? You got the audio.
I did audio, but audio takes 30 days for them to approve. So audio actually will be out hopefully today.
Okay. So good. Yes. That's awesome.
Kindle, paperback, Audible should all be out. Yes.
Audio is crazy, right? When I did my book on audio, it was funny. I joke around. It's not true, but I joke around the fact that I swear it took me longer to do the audio than it did the actual writing of the book.
Same. Absolutely. And it's bad because I'm not a fan of my voice. So
right. Oh yeah.
When especially,
me too.
Right. Especially,
I'm a fan of your voice. I'm not a fan of my voice.
See, I'm a fan of your voice and not mine, because we always do this, especially in the speaker world. We hate looking at our speeches. Like I can't look at it without criticizing myself, right? So totally. I just don't watch them again. But we have that, so no, the audiobook, but I also understood that if I'm talking about connection, well, how weird would it be if somebody else read that book, which is written by me, and I'm talking about connection. So I have to stay true to my message. And
I love it. I love it when authors read their own books. It's great.
And there are times in it. I start laughing at one point and I get so serious at the other point because I know the content. So
I had somebody reach out to me and be like, because when I did my book, I wanted it to sound like I was in my whole idea in my head was I'm in a car in the passenger seat with someone driving, and I'm reading my book to them to keep them awake. And so that was my whole thought. And I've had people reach out and be like, it sounds like you're talking to me. Like, it sounds like we're having a conversation. I'm like, good. That's exactly what I was hoping for. So, well, but like you said, we could speak all day long about this stuff. I want people to go get your book. It's on Amazon. Go reach out, get it right now. Amazon is struggling for business right now. So it'd be good if you all would, I'm just kidding. Because they're not struggling, but you can go to Amazon and get her book as well. We're going to talk about other ways to connect with her as well. But right now we are at this section of our show where we go through our 6 rapid fire questions. Are you ready to play?
Let's do this.
All right. What's the most expensive thing that you believe practice owners are missing in their practice?
So they are spending way too much money on it?
Yeah. Either they're not spending any money on it and they're missing it, and it could be bringing them more money, or they're spending way too much money on it and it's a waste of money.
Well, a waste of money is, I'm going to say, spending a lot more on websites. Here's my answer to this, because I get this question a lot. How much should I spend on a website? Again, I don't sell websites, so that's what it is. So here's my honest opinion. Your website should be as good or better than your competition.
As good or better than your competition. That's a good barometer.
It's a
Yeah.
simple answer.
Yeah.
So it should be that. So that's where I think people hit or miss a lot, because I will see some people who have a website which is looks like the competitor's website, exactly the same layout, because they never got
Yeah.
this, custom website, it's the same template. So that's an issue. And then
Yeah.
I'll see some website where they have all the hooplas in the world, but their clientele or their ideal audiences are seniors who really don't care about it.
Yep.
So yeah, as good as your competition, I would say is your budget line. And then clearly your content has to match your ideal avatar.
So true. All right. Well, what's a book that you believe every private practice owner should be reading?
Okay, so this is my sales talk. Why
Yay.
Your Marketing is Killing Your Business by Minal
Yes.
Sampat, #1 bestseller in 5 countries. Please go
Nice.
buy it.
It's so funny. When mine became a bestseller in Germany, I was like, it's not in German. Just
No.
thinking, but I'm glad. I'm not complaining. I'm glad. That's great. Yeah, definitely go read it, everybody. First of all, the great thing, I'm going to just give one more endorsement about it. It's not a super hard read. She made it very simple, actionable for you to jump into it. You could read this in easily a weekend or a weekday or a half a day. Like
3
really
hours. It takes 3 hours to read the entire book.
3 hours. Come on.
We have done all the experimentation on this. It takes 3 hours because we wanted to make sure that it's a book that people can just read on a flight. It's a book that people can implement. And then right now, here's a freebie, because there's a lot of exercises in it. So I've had people do exercises and print things, as I have graphs and different things.
Yes. Yep. I've seen it. Yep.
Well, we are actually, if you do have the book, if you bought the book, or if you're going to buy the book, just shoot an email. I'm sure you're going to have my information there, info@minalsampat.com. But if you shoot us an email, we'll actually give you the actual copy. So you can have multiple copies of the exercises itself.
Nice.
The worksheet, so you can do that with their team. Because we had a lot of people right now saying, what do I do with my team?
Well, I just had an idea too. I just had an idea right now too. Like there's a lot of parents at home with their kids right now doing school from home. Here's a curriculum for an entire week to sit down with your kids one hour a day. Go through it, have them be your little marketing buddies, have them do the exercises, and they're going to learn something that will help them either now for you and your business that gave you ideas, or for themselves in the future. So they're learning something for their future. That's actual real school. That's actually real school. I like that a lot. So in my book, The Practice RX, I focus a lot on team culture and team performance as the foundation for business growth. What do you see is the biggest challenge private practice owners are facing with their teams and their office culture right now?
First of all, Dino, I love your books.
Oh, thank you.
I read them. I talk about them. I love the quotes.
Oh,
you are
so
very
sweet.
good at what you do. Clearly, we are on the same synergy here. So I really appreciate the work you're sharing. And I am with you when you say what is the biggest problem is there is a lack of communication, and there is a lack of understanding. There's a lack of seeing your team as a whole. Right? You're seeing, and that's an issue, because when you don't look at it as a whole, like a strategy, that's an issue. And that's where I think you're so brilliant at teaching that and talking about that team culture, because yes, at the end of the day, people need to like your team. You need to be able to, not even people like, you need to like your team.
You need to like your team.
You need to like your team. Like if you're not even happy with your team, if you cannot connect with your team, how do you expect others to connect with them?
How terrible would that be? Like living in a world where you just don't like being
like
with
you
the people
hate
you're
going
with.
to work.
I know.
Like that's not okay. So,
People wonder why they get burnout and stress and frustration. It's like, well, because you go to some place where, yeah, I don't get it. I could not live in that world at all. All right. So we mentioned earlier just a moment ago, how can people reach out to you? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Sure. I mean, my website is minalsampat.com, which is MINALSAMPAT.com. You can shoot an email, info@minalsampat.com. But really, if you want to get in touch with me, like directly with me, Facebook, Minal Sampat. I have a photo on there. You'll see.
Oh my goodness. You have to tell people. Okay, I'll tell people. You have to join her for mocktails with Minal. That's so fun. And you do them like every week, right?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group. I think we have like 16 or 2,000 people, members in the group, and it's called Marketing and Mocktails with Minal.
Yes.
And in the group, we do a live show every week, and we do a lot of interactions and questions and Q&As. It's super fun. I love it. The members are amazing. They're all different healthcare providers, and I'm very lucky to be able to share with people.
That's great.
Please feel free to share.
Well, we'll put that also on the show notes for sure. Manal, this is a hard question, but just off the top of your head, what's the best advice you've ever received in life or in business?
In life, when I was at Rutgers, when I was debating between going to dental school or going into business, I went to a career counselor, and she told me that, I don't know if you believe in faith, but if you already think you want to do something, you're born with the power to do so. So if you think you want to do something, you're already born with the power to do so. And I take that to heart because, listen, I launched my first company by breaking a Guinness World Record. Everything that I do with my business, I have these big ideas, and I go into them saying they're never going to come to fruition. Like, what am I thinking? This is too ridiculous. This is too out there. Breaking a world record to launch a business. What are you doing, Minal, right? And then they happen. So I think that knowing that I have the power to do it, knowing that I know that I could do this, allows me to actually make it happen.
Yes.
So anybody who's listening to this, that's the best advice I can give you, is if you want to do something, you are your only roadblock.
That's true.
You're your only roadblock. So make your way through that.
Love it. What's the best resource or tool that every private practice owner should be using to grow their practice right now?
To be completely honest, seriously, talking to your patients. So when I say right now, because we are in our COVID crisis right now,
Nice.
How many of you have picked up the phone and actually called your patients and checked on them? How many of you have actually not just sent an email? Don't become that, part of the noise like we have talked about, right?
Right.
But how many of you actually picked up the phone and said, hey, Mrs. Smith, how are you doing? I know we were mid-treatment about this. What is actually going on with you? Yep. I just wanted to check in. How many of you have done that? So take the time out to show up for people.
Well, you have the time.
You have the time.
You literally have the time right now.
Right.
To do that. And how memorable would that be? Just think about that. Put yourself in that position, how memorable that would be of you getting a phone call. Just say, hey, you know what? I know that, we can't see you, but we just wanted you to know, like, we're thinking about you. And is there anything we can do to help? How are you feeling? I had a doctor of mine, I put this out there as an idea for him is, all these parents are home with their kids. Boy, you want to connect with your patients? Send out to all your patients. You're going to be doing an online for 4 weeks, 1 hour or maybe a half an hour a week science class,
right? All
about oral health care. And now the parents are like, oh my gosh, that's an hour I don't have to deal with. The kids get to see their dentist. You became more valuable. Like, I love that idea, Minal, just to reach out, just say, hey.
And I even had a few of my clients even figure out, because, it broke my heart the other day. I went to grocery shop and I saw all these seniors who couldn't even walk. They were with walking sticks trying to get to their pharmacies. They were standing in the pharmacy line and they're going shopping when they shouldn't be out right now.
Right.
And we have grocery delivery systems. We actually have medication delivery systems, but they just simply don't know how to do that. So be that solution, be the solution that they need right now, right? Call that up. And, going with the oral care stuff, I have this happen. So this is kind of fun, which we can talk about is, if you want to talk about oral care and you want to do this ahead, make a fun, like, brushing and flossing song. You know how we have the 20-second, we are doing the birthday song to wash our hands?
Sure.
Like, brushing and flossing is 2 minutes. Let's make like a fun rap or like a fun, awesome song about brushing and flossing. Put it out to all your patients, put it up on social and be like, share your most hilarious TikTok videos with the song or your photos, and you can win, a Kindle and a toilet paper roll, make it fun. And now we are going to have them doing this. So just like you said, we have to, right now for the question, you answered a very long answer, but pretty much show up.
Yeah, show up.
Show up.
I love it. I think it's brilliant, which is everything that you write about and you talk about. And it's no surprise that you gave some amazing nuggets today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and for sharing your wisdom with everyone. I know that there are people who are writing notes and seeing what they can do to actually show up right now, to be better in their marketing, to understand what their superpower is and how they actually can tap into that, how to connect with more people and be authentic with them. I think it's brilliant and it makes so much sense. Thank you for being our teacher today.
No, thank you for having me. This was absolute blast. I love chatting with you, Dino, and you're doing such an amazing job providing all these resources. So keep doing it, man. You're awesome.
I got nothing else to do, so I might as well do it. So thanks. Thank you very much. Well, everybody, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of the Propreneur Podcast. As you know, our goal is always to help you be more proactive, productive, and profitable in all areas of your life and business. Make sure you have an amazing day. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much again for listening to the Propreneur Podcast. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do so. Also, if you feel like you might be a good fit for our podcast as a guest or know somebody who you think would be, go ahead and email us at dino@dinowatt.com. Again, thanks for support. We'll see you on the next episode.